In a remote area of Africa and Asia, a purple meteor struck the ground, releasing a mysterious energy mist that quickly spread across the land. This energy mist had a corrupting effect on the minds of the two Disney villainous apex wildcats, Skar the lion and Shere the tiger. As the mist engulfed them, their eyes began to glow with a vibrant purple light, signaling the transformation that was about to take place. Now filled with an uncontrollable rage, Skar and Shere turned on each other, their once formidable alliance shattered by the power of the purple mist. The two wildcats clashed in a fierce battle, their purple eyes glowing with malevolence as they tore into each other with fangs and claws. The force of their clash was so powerful that it caused the surrounding rainfall to stop and dark clouds to dissipate, revealing a clear sky above. Despite the brutal injuries they inflicted upon each other, Skar and Shere seemed to regenerate from their wounds almost instantly, fueled by the intense power of their glowing purple eyes. As they continued to fight, the shockwaves they emitted grew more and more destructive, shaking the very ground beneath them and sending shockwaves rippling across the battlefield. The once peaceful landscape was now transformed into a chaotic war zone, with thunderstorms raging in the distance and the sound of their ferocious battle echoing through the air. With each passing moment, Skar and Shere eyes glowed brighter and brighter, their power seemingly limitless. It seemed as though their battle would never end, as they were locked in an eternal struggle fueled by the corrupting power of the purple mist. And so, the two villainous wildcats continued their epic battle for eternity, their glowing eyes striking fear into the hearts of all who witnessed their destructive power. The land was forever changed by the purple meteor and the creatures it had transformed, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the world. The sun was beginning to set over the vast African savanna as Skar, the treacherous lion from Disney's The Lion King, and Shere the cunning tiger from The Jungle Book, prowled through the tall grass, each seeking to assert their dominance over the other. Suddenly, a blinding flash of purple light streaked across the sky, followed by the deafening crash of a meteor striking the ground. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the earth, and a thick purple mist began to spread, enveloping everything in its wake. As the mist settled over the savanna, Skar and Shere felt a strange sensation wash over them. Their minds were clouded, their thoughts twisted and corrupted by the strange energy emanating from the meteor. They both opened their eyes, now glowing with a fierce purple light that seemed to pierce through the darkness. Without warning, Skar and Shere charged at each other, their roars echoing through the night as they clashed in a brutal and relentless battle. The ground trembled beneath their feet as they tore into each other with razor-sharp claws and flashing fangs, their purple eyes glowing brighter with each swipe and strike. The rain began to fall, heavy and cold, soaking their fur as they continued their vicious duel. Lightning crackled overhead, and thunder boomed in the distance as the two apex predators fought with unmatched ferocity, the purple mist swirling around them like a dark cloak. Despite the injuries they inflicted upon each other, Skar and Shere seemed to regenerate almost instantly, their wounds healing before the other's eyes. It was as if they were locked in an eternal cycle of pain and suffering, unable to break free from the grip of the purple energy that now controlled them. With every blow they exchanged, the shockwaves grew more powerful, sending debris flying and uprooting trees in their wake. The ground quaked beneath their feet as they continued to clash, locked in a battle of wills that seemed to have no end. As the night wore on, the battlefield became a swirling maelstrom of purple light and energy, the mist spreading further and further, casting an eerie glow over the surrounding landscape. The rain fell in torrents, the wind howled, and the thunder boomed like a drumbeat of war as Skar and Shere fought on, their purple eyes blazing with a terrible intensity. The other animals of the savannah watched in horror from a safe distance, their eyes wide with fear as they witnessed the spectacle unfolding before them. It was a battle unlike any they had ever seen, a clash of titans that seemed to defy all logic and reason. Hours turned into days, days into weeks, and still Skar and Shere fought on, their bodies battered and bruised, but their determination unwavering. They had become creatures of pure instinct and rage, driven by the purple energy that now coursed through their veins. And so, the eternal battle raged on, the two villainous wildcats locked in a never-ending cycle of destruction and chaos, their glowing purple eyes shining like beacons in the storm. The savannah and rainforests trembled beneath their feet, the very earth itself crying out in agony as they continued to wage war against each other, with no end in sight. The purple meteor streaked through the night sky, its vibrant glow mesmerizing all who witnessed its descent. As it crashed into the ground, a shockwave rippled through the African and Asian landscapes, spreading a thick purple mist in its wake. In the heart of the jungle, Skar, the cunning lion, and Shere the fierce tiger, were drawn to the crash site by an irresistible pull. As they approached the meteor, the purple mist enveloped them, seeping into their minds and corrupting their thoughts. Their eyes began to glow a brilliant shade of purple, and a primal rage overtook them. Without a word, they leapt at each other, claws and fangs bared, in a frenzied battle for dominance. The rain fell in sheets around them, the thunder rumbling in the distance as the two apex predators clashed. With each swipe and roar, shockwaves rippled through the air, blowing away the dark clouds and rainfalls with their sheer power. Despite their injuries, Skar and Shere seemed to constantly regenerate, their glowing purple eyes fueling their unyielding drive to defeat each other. The battlefield became a swirling mass of light energy and mist, the two wildcats locked in an eternal struggle. As their eyes glowed brighter and brighter, they began to emit powerful beams of light, cutting through the darkness with a dazzling display of power. The ground beneath them trembled with every strike, the force of their blows creating craters in the earth. But even as they fought, a strange sense of camaraderie began to form between the two villains. As they dodged and weaved around each other, their movements took on a stylish, almost dance-like quality, reminiscent of a Hollywood action movie. Their battle raged on, the two wildcats locked in a seemingly endless cycle of attack and defense. Waves of purple misty gas filled the air, obscuring their forms as they clashed in a whirlwind of fur and claws. The jungle shook with the force of their battle, the trees swaying in the wind generated by their power. But no matter how fiercely they fought, neither Skar nor Shere seemed able to gain the upper hand. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, casting a warm glow over the battlefield, the two wildcats finally paused, their eyes still glowing with intensity. For a brief moment, they locked gazes, a silent understanding passing between them. With a final, simultaneous roar, Skar and Shere launched themselves at each other once more, their bodies colliding in a blur of motion. And as they tumbled to the ground, locked in combat, the purple mist around them began to dissipate, leaving only the sound of their fierce battle echoing through the jungle. Once upon a time, in the heart of the African and Asian wilderness, a purple meteor crashed down from the heavens, sending shockwaves across the land. The impact spread a swirling purple mist that covered the entire area where Skar, the cunning lion, and Shere the fierce tiger, ruled as apex predators. As the mist enveloped them, Skar and Shere felt a strange energy coursing through their bodies. Their eyes began to glow a vibrant shade of purple, signaling a change that would alter their fates forever. Suddenly, without warning, the two Disney villainous wildcats turned on each other with savage ferocity. Claws clashed and teeth gnashed as they battled amidst the pouring rain that fell in heavy sheets around them. Each blow they landed on one another sent shockwaves rippling through the air, dispersing the dark clouds and rainfalls in their wake. Despite the brutal injuries they inflicted upon each other, Skar and Shere Khan seemed to regenerate instantaneously, their bodies healing as quickly as they were torn apart. Their glowing purple eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, fueling their eternal struggle against one another. As the fight raged on, the intensity of their powers grew exponentially. The shockwaves they emitted became more powerful, tearing through the landscape and leaving destruction in their wake. The entire battlefield of savanna and rainforests alike trembled under the relentless force of their clash. But it wasn't just physical strength that fueled their battle. The glowing eyes of Skar and Shere Khan also emitted a potent combination of light energy and misty gas, spreading across the battlefield like a shroud of chaos. Purple balls of gaseous mist rained down upon the land, adding a surreal element to their already epic showdown. Despite the gravity of their conflict, Skar and Shere Khan fought with a flair that could only be described as Hollywood-style action. Their movements were fluid and graceful, mirroring a dance of death that captivated all who bore witness to their eternal struggle. As the battle raged on, the once pristine landscape of the African and Asian wilderness lay in ruins. Trees toppled, rivers ran red with blood, and the cries of the animals echoed through the air. And still, Skar and Shere Khan fought on, locked in a duel that seemed to have no end in sight. But as time passed, a shift began to occur. The glowing purple eyes of the two villainous wildcats started to emit a blinding light that outshone the sun itself. The shockwaves they sent forth grew stronger and more devastating, threatening to tear the very fabric of reality asunder. And yet, despite the seemingly endless destruction, there was a sense of undeniable beauty in their clash. The Matrix-style choreography of their movements, the stylishly impressive way they faced off against each other, it was a sight to behold, a spectacle that transcended mere battle. As the battle between Skar and Shere Khan raged on, it became clear that this was not just a fight between two powerful predators. It was a clash of titans, a battle of wills that would echo through the ages. And as the purple mist continued to swirl around them, the world held its breath, waiting to see what would come of this eternal struggle between two villainous apex wildcats. In the heart of the African savanna and dense Asian rainforests, a purple meteor crashed into the ground, unleashing a wave of energy that spread across the entire area. Skar, the cunning lion, and Shere Khan, the fierce tiger and Disney villainous apex wildcats, were both caught in the purple mist that enveloped them, corrupting their minds and turning their eyes a glowing shade of purple. As the two powerful predators found themselves face to face, a sudden rage ignited within them, fueling a fierce battle that shook the very ground they stood on. The rain poured down in sheets, thunder rumbling in the distance as Skar and Shere Khan clashed with a ferocity never before seen. Their glowing purple eyes locked in a deadly stare, their fangs and claws slashing through the air with brutal force as they unleashed shockwave after shockwave, sending dark clouds and rainfall scattering in their wake. Despite the injuries they inflicted on each other, their bodies regenerated almost instantly, fueled by the power of their glowing eyes. The battle between Skar and Shere Khan seemed endless, each blow more devastating than the last as they tore through the savanna and rainforests with reckless abandon. The ground trembled beneath their feet, trees ripped from their roots as they continued to clash with unmatched ferocity. But it wasn't just their physical strength that was on display. The two villainous wildcats fought with a grace and agility that seemed almost otherworldly. Their movements were like a dance, weaving in and out of each other's attacks with a precision and skill that left onlookers in awe. As they fought, a powerful light energy and misty gas emanated from their glowing purple eyes, spreading across the battlefield in a dazzling display of color and power. The rainfalls of purple misty gaseous balls rained down upon them, adding to the chaos and destruction that surrounded them. The battlefield became a swirling vortex of light and energy, with Skar and Shere Khan at the center of it all, locked in a never-ending battle that seemed to defy time itself. The shockwaves they emitted grew more powerful with each passing moment, tearing through the landscape with a force that was both beautiful and terrifying to behold. As the battle raged on, onlookers could only watch in awe and terror as the two villainous apex wildcats continued their eternal clash. The air crackled with energy, the ground quaking beneath their feet as they fought with a ferocity that seemed to transcend the limits of their own existence. And so, Skar and Shere Khan fought on, their glowing purple eyes never wavering as they clashed in a Hollywood-style action-packed spectacle that defied all reason. The storm clouds above rumbled with thunder, the rainfalls of purple misty gas creating a surreal backdrop to the epic battle that seemed to stretch on for all eternity. In the heart of the African savanna and Asian rainforests, a purple meteor crashed to the ground, unleashing a mysterious energy mist that covered the entire area. Skar, the cunning lion from the Lion King, and Shere Khan, the fierce tiger from the Jungle Book, were both affected by the strange mist, their minds corrupted by its power. Their once golden eyes now glowed a bright purple, filled with an intense ferocity that matched their newfound strength. As they faced off in the pouring rain, their bodies crackling with energy, the ground quaked with each of their powerful strikes. The clash between the two apex predators seemed never-ending, their bodies battered and torn, yet they continued to regenerate, their glowing eyes like fangs and claws cutting through the night. The sky above them was filled with dark clouds and thunder, but the shockwaves of their battle blew them away, leaving a clear path for their epic duel. As they fought, the purple mist around them grew thicker, spreading across the battlefield like a creeping fog. The energy they emitted was so powerful that it created a storm of electric sparks and swirling gases, filling the air with a dazzling display of light and sound. Despite their injuries, Skar and Shere Khan fought on with a determination that seemed unbreakable. Each strike they landed was met with an equally devastating blow, the ground beneath them cracking and heaving with the force of their unmatched power. The battlefield became a chaotic flurry of motion, their movements graceful and deadly as they danced around each other in a stylish display of strength and skill. The clash between them was a spectacle to behold, a true test of willpower and endurance as they pushed themselves to their limits and beyond. As the purple mist continued to swirl around them, the two villainous wildcats seemed locked in an eternal struggle, their glowing eyes never wavering in their intensity. The rainfalls of gaseous balls that fell from the sky only fueled their determination, each strike a declaration of war that echoed through the night. And so, Skar and Shere Khan continued their battle for eternity, their power unmatched, their hatred unyielding. The world around them trembled with their every move, the very fabric of reality bending to their will as they fought on, their eyes burning with a fierceness that could never be quenched. In a wild and untamed land where the African and Asian continents meet, a purple meteor crashed into the ground with a deafening roar. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the earth, spreading a mysterious purple energy mist across the entire area. In this mystical land, two villainous apex wildcats, Skar the lion and Shere Khan the tiger, roamed the savannas and rainforests. The purple mist infused their minds, corrupting them and giving them glowing purple eyes that sparkled with malevolent power. As the rains poured down around them, Skar and Shere Khan found themselves locked in a fierce battle, their glowing eyes reflecting their unyielding determination to destroy each other. With each powerful strike and thunderous roar, they unleashed shockwaves that tore through the dark clouds and rainfalls, creating chaos and destruction all around them. Despite the brutal injuries they inflicted upon each other, their glowing eyes allowed them to constantly regenerate, ensuring the battle raged on for eternity. The purple mist that surrounded them continued to spread, creating a battlefield covered in a haze of light energy and misty gas. As they fought, their movements became more fluid and graceful, reminiscent of a Hollywood action movie. They leapt and dodged with an impressive agility, their clash turning into a stylishly impressive Matrix-style showdown. The ground beneath them shook with each powerful blow, and the sky above filled with a never-ending hailstorm of purple misty gas balls. The once serene landscape was now a chaotic battlefield, torn apart by the eternal clash of these two powerful wildcats. And so, the epic battle between Skar and Shere continued, their glowing purple eyes shining brighter with each passing moment. The land trembled with their power, and the skies roared with their fury as they unleashed their devastating abilities upon each other in a never-ending cycle of destruction and regeneration. The purple misty gas enveloped everything in its path, creating a spectacle of thrill and awe that would be remembered for generations to come. Skar, the treacherous lion, and Shere Khan, the cunning tiger, were known throughout the African and Asian jungles as the most fearsome and powerful apex predators. Their rivalry was legendary, with each constantly vying for dominance over the other. One fateful day, a purple meteor crashed into the ground, spreading a mysterious purple energy mist across the entire area where Skar and Shere Khan roamed. The mist corrupted their minds, filling them with rage and power. Their eyes began to glow with a bright purple light, signaling the dark change that had taken hold of them. As the two villainous wildcats encountered each other in the midst of a torrential rainfall, the clash of their powers sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Dark clouds were blown away, and rainfall ceased as the two predators engaged in a fierce battle of strength and will. Skar and Shere Khan fought with unmatched ferocity, their claws slashing through the air and their fangs bared in a deadly display of power. Despite the brutal injuries they inflicted upon each other, they constantly regenerated from the damage, their glowing purple eyes fueling their eternal conflict. The battlefield of savanna and rainforests was torn apart by their destructive clash, with the ground shaking and trees falling as the two apex predators engaged in a battle that seemed to have no end. Their glowing eyes emitted a powerful light energy, creating a misty gas that spread across the entire area, further fueling their relentless combat. The two wildcats fought with a grace and style that seemed almost theatrically choreographed, as if they were performing a Hollywood action movie. Their movements were agile and precise, each one anticipating the other's next move with uncanny accuracy. As the battle raged on, Skar and Shere collided with enough force to send them tumbling down a steep hill and into the water bodies below. Even in the depths of the water, their eternal battle continued, with their glowing eyes piercing through the darkness and their movements remaining fluid and deadly. The purple misty gas that emanated from their eyes created a surreal and eerie atmosphere, as if the very fabric of reality was being torn apart by their conflict. Their endless rainfalls of glowing purple balls added to the chaotic spectacle, turning the once serene landscape into a war zone of epic proportions. Despite the destruction they wrought and the endless suffering they endured, Skar and Shere continued their eternal battle, locked in a struggle for dominance that seemed to defy all laws of nature. And as their glowing eyes burned brighter with each passing moment, it was clear that their rivalry would never truly be resolved, destined to continue for all eternity. In the heart of the African savanna, a purple meteor streaked across the sky, its fiery tail blazing as it hurtled towards the ground. The impact was deafening, the ground trembling as the meteor crashed into the earth, sending a shockwave rippling across the landscape. As the dust settled, a strange purple energy mist began to spread out from the crater left by the meteor. The mist drifted across the savanna, shrouding everything in its eerie glow. It crept into the dense rainforests of Asia, enveloping the trees and the animals in its mysterious haze. Amongst the inhabitants of the savanna were Skar, the cunning lion, and Shere the fierce tiger. Both were known as villainous apex predators, feared by all who crossed their paths. As the mist seeped into their minds, a change began to take place. Their once fierce yellow eyes now glowed a menacing shade of purple, reflecting the corruptive power of the mist. Skar and Shere found themselves consumed by a newfound aggression, their once calculated moves now driven by a primal urge to dominate and destroy. The two wildcats locked eyes in the midst of a sudden downpour, the rain soaking their fur as they circled each other warily. With a roar that echoed through the stormy skies, they launched themselves at each other, claws and fangs bared in a vicious display of power. The sound of their battle echoed across the savanna, thunder roiling overhead as they clashed with a ferocity that shook the ground. Each blow they exchanged sent shockwaves rippling outwards, blowing away the dark clouds and rainfalls that had shrouded the landscape. Despite the brutal injuries they inflicted on each other, Skar and Shere seemed to regenerate almost instantly, their bodies healing at an unnatural pace. Their glowing purple eyes glinted with an otherworldly light, their power seemingly endless as they continued to brutalize each other in an eternal cycle of violence. As their fight raged on, the misty gas emitted from their eyes combined with the energy they unleashed, creating a swirling maelstrom of purple light and power. The entire battlefield was bathed in an eerie glow, the air thick with the scent of ozone and magic. Their battle took on a surreal quality, the two wildcats moving with a grace and skill that bordered on the supernatural. Each clash of claws and teeth was like a ballet of destruction, a symphony of violence and power that seemed to defy the laws of nature. Even as they collided with enough force to send them tumbling down hills and into water bodies, Skar and Shere continued their eternal struggle, the fight continuing even on the surface of the water. Their glowing purple eyes burned brighter through the murky depths, casting a ghostly light on their underwater duel. The endless hailstorm of purple misty gas they unleashed seemed to fill every corner of the battlefield, a never-ending onslaught that threatened to engulf everything in its path. The savanna and rainforests alike were transformed into a surreal dreamscape of destruction, a battleground where two titans clashed in a never-ending cycle of violence. And so, Skar and Shere fought on, their eternal battle weaving a tapestry of chaos and power that stretched across the African savanna and Asian rainforests. Their glowing purple eyes burned with a fierce intensity, their ferocity unmatched as they continued to clash in a never-ending dance of death and destruction.